This conference is being recorded.
Hello, everyone. Happy Monday to you, and happy Dr. Martin Luther King's Day to you. Today is January the 19th, 2015. I want to welcome you to world-renowned motivational speaker, speech coach, and best-selling author, Les Brown's Monday Night Motivation. For those of you that have joined us before, you know that this is your place for motivation and inspiration. I am Anita Hicks, your host, performance strategist, and life coach. I am joined by my co-host, Stacey N.C. Grant, empowerment specialist, who will share with you at the end of the program how to stay connected with Les Brown and the Platinum Speakers 7 days of the week. Thank you so much for investing in yourself and joining us tonight. Mr. Brown, how are you?
I'm better than good, better than most, and sometimes even better than that, moving in the right direction.
Sounds wonderful, wonderful. Well, happy Martin Luther King's Day to you, the day of service, and honoring such a great legacy. So happy MLK Day to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and same to you and Stacey. And I'd like to thank all the people that's on the call with us tonight. I want to talk to you about, as we look at this day we celebrate, Dr. King, because his goal and dream was to help us have the opportunity to participate in the American dream. The American dream, a time when I remember the floor of the bus, and if you're African American, you couldn't sit at the front of the bus. You had to go past that line and sit at the back of the bus. I remember as a kid walking on Mamie Beach with my mother, a white person was approaching you. You had to step off the sidewalk so that they could pass. He could see, he could hear everything. And he studied the shadows on the wall. And he trained himself how to tell time. He got snippets of conversations and the time that Barney came on and the time that Barney went off. And he trained himself, looking at the shadows on the wall, getting snippets of conversations. He trained himself on how to tell time. Here's something else. Take charge of your thoughts. He was a prisoner in his own mind, and his mind would attack you. You're nothing. No one will ever want you. You're in here. You are invisible. You are worthless. And what he did, he trained himself to back away from his thoughts and go to a place in his mind to watch his thoughts. And he taught himself to face the reality that he had thoughts. He was a thinker who was thinking the thoughts, but he was not his thoughts. Many times, you're going to have thoughts of that nature as well. See, we can't control the thoughts that come in our minds, but we can control the thoughts that we dwell on. And so that's what Martin did. Not only did he find a way to make it possible for him to learn how to tell time by studying the shadows on the wall and watching Barney every day, but he trained himself how to go to a space in his mind to watch his thoughts so that he would not get into a deep, irreversible sense of depression. He controlled his mind. That's the one thing that we can control. We can control our minds. And when you're pursuing goals and dreams, you're going to have to control your mind, because there are things that will happen that will tell you you can't do this. You'll tell yourself that you can't do it, that you're wasting your time, you're wasting your energy. You'll have people around you telling you you can't do it. You'll have mishaps taking place. Murphy's Law that says if anything can go wrong, it will, and at the worst possible moment. You have circumstances and events that will take place that will tell you, go back. You can't do it. You can't have this. Stop wasting your time. Some of you have already gone through that. Some of you are right there right now fighting some negative thoughts. I've gone through that myself, dealing with a variety of things. And I'm saying to you, we can't control the thoughts that come in our minds, but we can control the thoughts that we dwell on. Here's something else. Get someone in your life who will become an advocate for you, someone that will fight for you, someone that can see some things for you that you can't see for yourself, someone that will help make things possible for you to do. One of the things that I'm clear about, you can't make it by yourself. I think it's important that as you think about your goals and dreams for 2015, if you're serious about this being a new year for you, you've got to get a new set of friends, people who bring some skills and knowledge and abilities and resources to the table that you don't have. I'm doing that right now as we speak. You want new results? Get some new relationships. Ask yourself, who can I count on and who should I count out? And this nurse said to his family, take him to this diagnostic center where I work and let them give him an examination. I believe that he can hear us. I believe that there's consciousness there. And finally, the family relented. Finally, the family took him to another hospital. They gave him a test, and the test showed there was awareness. The test showed there was intelligence. And to make a long story short, Martin now talks through a computer. Martin now is married. Martin now went to college. Martin now has his own business. Martin now has authored a book. And Martin was told, and his parents were told, that Martin was beyond hope. They said, after examining Martin, that he had zero intelligence. He had the intelligence of a 3-month-old child. They said that he is a vegetable. They said about Martin, take him home, make him comfortable until he dies. That's what these trained people said. He's beyond hope. There's no hope for him. He has zero intelligence. He's a vegetable. Take him home, make him comfortable until he dies. And now Martin is a source of inspiration for people. Now Martin is married and there's petitioning to learn how to drive. Martin is living his dream. He still cannot talk, but he talks through a computer. And he says he doesn't worry about ever speaking on his own. He said he's accepted himself. And I say to you, when we think about Martin, he's beyond hope, zero intelligence. He's a vegetable. Take him home, make him comfortable until he dies. I'm saying to you, what that says to me, regardless of what has been said to you, regardless of what you have working against you, regardless of what the odds are, regardless of what the adverse circumstances are, I'm saying judge not according to appearances, regardless of the mistakes and the failures and the setbacks and everything that you have gone through and all the stupid mistakes that you have made and I have made. The final chapter for your life and my life has not been written yet. The verdict is not in yet. That there's so much for you to do. There's so much living for you to do. And that as you look at yourself and look at where you want to go, don't give up on your dream because of what people have said about you. Don't give up on your dream because you might not have the credit that you want, or you don't have any money in the bank, or you're behind on your bills, you're ducking creditors. Don't give up on your dream because you've gone through foreclosure or been laid off from your job or going through a divorce, or you've been left to fend for yourself with a house full of children. Don't give up on your dream. If family members and so-called friends have turned their backs on you and they told you that you can't make it, that you are nothing and you'll never be nothing, don't give up on your dream because it's not over until you win, because the verdict is still out. You have another chance. You can develop another skill. There's somebody that's waiting to open a door for you. They're waiting for you to knock or should show up. Don't give up. No. It doesn't matter. I heard a guy say something, when you're down to nothing, God is up to something. Don't give up on your dream. when you hold the vision of what it is you want to create, you'll begin to magnetize and bring into your life experience the people, angels. I believe in angels. That's what happened. A nurse looked at him and said, there's something there. Sometimes you need to take another look at your situation. Take another look at your life. Take another look at your relationships. Take another look at where you are. And out of that new vision, there could be a revelation. That new vision, an idea. One idea can turn your life around. One idea. You don't know yourself like that to give up. No one knows you well enough to say to you what you can't do. They don't know. They have not a clue of who you are. Eye has not seen. Ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has in store for you if you don't give up on your dream. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. went to Memphis, Tennessee, for garbage collectors who were striking to get better pay. He went there so that they would be able to earn more money to take care of their families. And his life was taken for garbage collectors. At least what you do unto these, my brethren, you do it also unto me. And as we look at ourselves in this time that many people don't have a clue of who he was and how he died and why he died, don't have a clue of the supreme sacrifice that he made so that you and I can live our dreams. I was talking to a gentleman the other day, and he told me about a lady who was at a deployment center. And this story grabbed me because I believe that the reasons you're listening to me and those who show up each week on this call, you can identify with this story because there's something in you that says, I'm not going to allow Dr. King's assassination to be in vain. I'm not going to go through life living small and coming up with excuses on why I can't live a higher expression of myself, why I can't go for the big life and live a larger life, why I can't get outside of my comfort zone. I want to be one of those individuals that I can live my life as Helen Keller said, your life should be a daring adventure or it's boring. I want to live a life that's meaningful. This lady had just started working at this deployment center, and soldiers were being sent abroad. And the young man came up to her in uniform, and he said, ma'am, he said, I need to see a priest. Is there a priest available on the premises? And she said, I don't know. This is my first day here. Let me look around and see. And she left for a while and came back, and she said, I'm so sorry. There's not a priest or a minister here. He said, then let me talk to you. Let me tell you who I am. Let me tell you my story. Let me spend some time with you before I leave. And she said, no, you can't do that with me. I'm not qualified. I'm not a minister. I'm not a priest. I'm not a counselor. I'm just a clerk here. This is my first day here. He said, it doesn't matter. He said, listen to me. I'm the only living person in my family. Everybody else in my family have died. And when I go, if I happen to die in battle, if I happen to lose my life, I want someone to know that I existed. Wow. I want someone to know that I existed, that I live. I remember my daughter Ona calling me one time, and I said, what are you doing? I'm just waiting in traffic. A policeman is stopping the traffic. Apparently this is a traffic stop because the funeral was about to cross in front of us. And all of a sudden she said, whoa, wow, whoa. I said, what happened? Is there an accident? She said, no. She said, a hearse came by, and there were only 2 cars behind the hearse. She said, how tragic. She said, when I die, I want my life to be so meaningful, Daddy, that there will be a long procession of cars. When I die, Daddy, I want the room in the church to be standing room only, because people will come out to celebrate my life and the impact of my life and how I live my life. When I die, I want people to know. I want people to be aware of my impact. And I say to you that the reason that you're listening to me now, there's something in you that says, I want someone to know that I existed. I want to live a life that has impact and value and meaning and significance. I don't want to be a person who just drifted through life and struggled from paycheck to paycheck, stressed out of my mind, and then just one day dropped dead. No. I want a life that will leave the world better shape than how I found it. I want a life that will be celebrated for its meaning and contribution. I want a life that Henry David Thoreau talked about, that we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. I want to live a life of contribution. And so as we celebrate the dreamer, the man who had the dream of inclusiveness, the dream that everybody, regardless of their race, creed, or color, and their religious persuasion, that everybody would be able to live the American dream. This man died so that we might be able to live our dreams. Our dreams. What is your dream? And if you're not clear, I encourage you to take some time to think about what your dream is. I remember Dr. Johnny Coleman, who was the minister of Christ Universal Temple Church in Chicago, and she gave one of her most electrifying sermons. What is your dream? And you know, most people don't have dreams. Most people don't have dreams. They're doing just enough to get by, doing just enough to survive. I don't believe that Dr. King and all of the people who had dogs sicked on them, all the people who went to jail, all the people who were lynched, I don't believe they died so that we could just survive, so that we could rob Peter to pay Paul, so we could just get by. No. No. We're here for a reason. You are here for a reason. There's something in you. There's a dream in you. There are dreams in you. There are talents in you. And there's the ability and the power in you to make them become reality. Think about that as we celebrate the dreamer. And we now have the opportunity to live the dream that he did not have an opportunity to live. You have something special. You have greatness within you. Live your life in such a way that people will know that you existed. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Nita?
Wow, Les, this is the other half of your Monday night. Dr. Stacey N.C. Grant is doing just that, living her dream, taking care of a little bit of business. So I am responding to this awesome message. I mean, Les, what you said was so important on so many levels, talking about the story of Martin and how you instructed all of the listeners to go and hear for themselves just the incredible story. You know, as I heard you talk, Les, about your own experience and what you went through in Miami, and I'm just reflecting on this amazing weekend, going to see Selma, having my son today participate in an oratory contest in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And Les, let me tell you, your work is so powerful. You know, I talk a lot about how the boys, because of what I do with you, they're so familiar with Uncle Les. But today, he shocked me. He wrote his own presentation, and he instructed the audience that every time he said MLK, they were to respond, make love known. And I watched in awe my 17-year-old son give a message today talking about the lessons that Dr. King taught, and not only what he taught, but how he put it into action. And all I could think about was, wow, when Dr. Martin Luther King looks down, when many of those whose names you don't know look down and can see a glimpse of someone like Martin, someone like you, Les, someone like my son, honoring the life that they lived so that we can have this freedom. I am so full and I'm so grateful, because this is why we must do this work. This is why your voice is so important in our world, knowing what our dream is, to make a difference, to have that contribution. And if that 17-year-old young man that I watched today was able to do that, not because I'm his mother, but because of a young man of color being that confident and that assured of the charge that is on his life because of the sacrifice that was made for those, by those who came before him, I can go to sleep tonight saying, wow, this is why I'm living my dream. So I want to thank you, Les, because it's because of your inspiration, your example, your leadership, and your consistent delivery of the greatness inside of you, that not only those who tune into this call every Monday, Anita and I, as we do this work, but it will translate and it will permeate through all those that we come in contact with, including our family.
Yes, and you know, the good thing about what we're doing is that young people are watching. There's some young people of consciousness, like your son, that are watching. I remember Father Federal Gibson in Miami, Florida. He was first African-American on the city council. I never met him. I went to school with his son. But I remember when the Miami Herald demanded of the NAACP to turn in their membership list. And during that time, they said if you were part of the NAACP, you were a communist. And for the first time in the history of Columbus, a black man said no to the white media. No. We're not going to turn in the list of the white and black members and the Jewish members of the NAACP. This is our private organization. You are not going to intimidate us. That was the first time. And when I think about when I went to Columbus, Ohio, and when I was in Chicago and I editorialized against police brutality in Merritt Daily, and when I lost my job on September the 22nd in Columbus, Ohio, 1978, for controversial editorials that I put on the air and leading demonstrations of 5,000 and 10,000 people protesting the injustices that were taking place in that community. I thought about how he impacted me, how he touched me. I never met him, but I saw him and I identified with him. And years later, his spirit was in me. Years later, when I spoke in the Ohio legislature, years later, when I was leading demonstrations, I had no idea there was a part of him that became a part of me. And I think that there's a mandate on all of us to look at our lives and ask the question, what difference am I making? What is my contribution? How will I leave my mark? What will my legacy be? What will be different because I was born? And as we begin to reflect on those things, it's very important to realize that we have a work. There's something that we are supposed to do. And it doesn't have to be grandiose. It could be something very, very...
Okay, there was a little technical challenge, but we're back, and Les is back, and you know this good news is going to go forward regardless of technology. Mr. Brown, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, what I was saying is, and I might lose you because I want to pull something up, and can you still hear me?
I can still hear you.
Very good. All right. I want to read something to you about the work that we do and how important this work is. And when we think about the fact that each week what we're doing is giving people hope. Each week we're giving people methods and techniques on how they can begin to approach their lives differently. And sometimes you can believe that what we're doing does not matter and that people are not listening and that there is no impact and there's no value in what you're doing. And I think that as we do the best we can with what we have, that those people who are supposed to hear us, they will hear us and they will show up. And so I wanted to read something to you. Are you still there?
Still here, Les. Go right ahead.
Good. I want to read something to you, and I don't want to call the person's name, so I'll say Marvin. Hi, my name is Marvin. I'm a founder and an entrepreneur of an institute. I nearly hang myself because of the rejections and failures I've gone through in life. But upon watching your videos and listening to your Monday night calls, I realized that it is possible for me to have a new life, for me to have hope, and that I can make things happen my way. And just like the energy and thinking I had dedicated to plan my suicide, I can equally put the same energy into writing a book and make my business big. I now know that it is possible. I'm writing 2 books, and I will like only one person to forward those books, and that is you, just for saving my life, giving me purpose, and stopping me from hanging myself.
Wow.
God.
Wow.
That just took my breath away. And I say this is why I do this work. This to me, I've had people say, you don't get paid to do these Monday night calls. Why do you do this? It's not about the money. I believe that what we're doing, it's a ministry in and of itself. What we're doing, we're giving people hope, and when there's hope in the future, that gives you power in the present. That what we're doing, that you have a spiritual tribe, and they will listen to you not only in their ears, but through their heart. And as you speak, you will give them a larger vision of themselves. As you speak, you will allow them to be able to cast a vision in the future that they can begin to manifest and develop the mental resiliency to turn their lives around. As you speak, your words will carry them through some tough times. I tell you, that every time I get tired or I'm dealing with my own stuff, that gives me strength in saying we're in the right direction.
Absolutely, Les. Absolutely. Like you said, we need those reminders sometimes because not everyone remembers to say thank you or to turn around, and that person took time out to let you know that you saved their lives just by living your dream and leaving your legacy. We cannot take it for granted. Every single moment is precious, and your time invested in these Monday night calls for years, the platinums that join in to support this call, not a moment is wasted, because when the callers that call in faithfully, the new callers that call in weekly, those who are referred by their teams and their organizations, we never know who needed to hear that word in that moment. So you stand on that, and you're consistent, Les, with living the words that you speak. So on behalf of everybody that is listening, I continue to say, God bless you, thank you, and we love you. Speaking for myself and Anita, it is a blessing to be able to do this work with you and to hold your hand and to know that you have opened up doors and paved the way. That's living the dream, not celebrating a holiday to go shopping or to just take the day off, but a day on, appreciating the sacrifices of everyone who has come before so we can honor their memories and leave a legacy for the next generation to carry the torch.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, and I want to thank you, Anita Boo, and y'all have a great evening. I'm here in San Diego, California, headed to Orlando tomorrow.